This is Tanya Bridge Malone back with another YouTube video. So yeah, today I got the same toboggan on. I bought this the other day. I want to show y'all my fit. Y'all already know. I really don't even need to show y'all my fit because you've seen this fit before. You know, I got my pants on that I got from Ross way back there for like, I think it was 15 or 20 bucks. I got this shirt for, I think it was $10, $15, $12.99 when I bought it. I got this from Hibbett Sports the other day. Y'all know I got it for 15 bucks, $14.98. And currently Hibbett's is the only place that really has any toboggans or anything left in this town to mount anything that I know of. I mean, there might be a few other places, but Ross doesn't have any because it's getting warmer weather, so they got all ball caps. So I'm a big toboggan wearer. I mean, I have probably 35, 40 different toboggans in my collection. I collect toboggans. I like toboggans. It keeps my head warm in the winter, and as you well know, we are going into the warmer months, so it's not a big deal, but we do still have some cold weather, so I wear my toboggan to keep my head warm, and it also keeps me from getting sick and stuff, because keeping your head covered is a good thing. I'm out here with no jacket on, obviously. Yesterday I was pretty worried about stuff, but you know, today I'm choosing to put it in the Lord's hands with that medical bill. There's nothing I can do about it until I either decide to go get another job. I'm debating on whether I want to try to go get a job somewhere to try to pay off what medical bills I owe. So then if I want to file disability, I can put in a 2-week notice. And as long as I don't have any issues with my back, you know. But y'all know if I do go to get a job somewhere, I figure I may try to do that just so I can get this medical bill paid off so I don't have to worry about it. And I don't know how long it'll take me to look for a job, but my mom mentioned something about a girl she knew that was working in Cynthiana, Kentucky, which is about 2 miles closer to me than where I was driving, where I was working. So I may try to do that. It does offer health insurance and stuff like that, but I don't know if that's what I'm going to do or not. But it only pays $17.50 an hour, and it's the same drive as what I was driving. It's just as far away. It's in just a different town, so that could be an option. They sew stuff there. I don't know how. I have no idea how to sew, so I don't know if that'd work out so well. They make hard hats there. They make hard hats. They sew, and then there's a department that makes hard hats, I guess. And I think it's called Bullards or something like that. But that's something I may look into. I don't know. Because if I get a job and I'm making, $17.50 an hour to drive over an hour to get to, I don't really know if that's worth it or not. So I may just try to find something here in town just to try to get that medical bill paid off. I know I won't be able to have health insurance and stuff, but I don't know. I mean, it depends. I'd really like to go to work somewhere where they do offer some health insurance, you know, but a lot of places it takes 60 to 90 days in order for you to be eligible for insurance anyway. So unfortunately, if I could get a job for at least 3 or 4 months, long enough for me to pay off what I owe on this medical bill, and I just pay everything I could afford to pay, that's an option for me. Or I would my son's going to give me some money to go towards paying some of what he owed, so that'll help me for a while, at least till I can find a job. So I got it figured out, you know what I mean? So I'm not going to sit back and worry about it. I am going to go to the hospital and see if there's any way they can lower that bill, considering I don't have a job right now. So I am going to check into that tomorrow. I did go into Ross. I know I shouldn't be spending any money. I know, y'all. But I bought me a few things. I didn't spend a lot of money. I only spent $29.66 was all I spent. I found a pair of Jordans in there. I found several pairs of Jordans. If you all are looking for any Jordans, I just want to say that if you go into Ross, you will find some Jordan shoes. They had different pairs, you know, but I don't know if it'd be anything you all would be interested in. I don't know, but me, the pair I saw that I liked was about $39.99. They were $39.99. It's currently raining right now. It's a nasty day, but it's still a beautiful day because we're alive, you know. I've been spitting up this phlegm, I know, but you know what? I ain't gonna say I'm bad on the cold. No matter how I feel, I'm gonna say I'm healed by the stripes of Jesus, no matter. But what I will say is, yeah, I was back to talking about I went into Ross and looked around. I debated. I told myself, I said, man, I got $421 left in my checking account. basically, because I've already subtracted out the $175 that I'm going to take out to put back to pay my insurance up for another 3 months. But they told me I can't pay it till May, and so I'm going to come back in May. I'm going to subtract the money out of my account, put it back for May to pay my insurance up for another 3 months. So I stopped and got me a coffee. I said, well, am I going to eat out? And I thought, well, this is all the money I have, and I'll go through it quite quickly, but I got to watch my money, because I got to have cigarette money, got to have gas money, you know what I mean? And this is all the money I got to go on. Don't know if I'm going to get a short-term disability check. I got an email or a text message or something stating from Sedgwick that they had not received the paperwork that the doctor has already got filled out, because I just called the doctor the other day. I was pretty sure he didn't put a return to work date on there, because I told him I wasn't returning to work there. I'm not going to go back to work there and re-injure myself. I'm not doing that. But anyway, I got a text message. I don't know if I might have overlooked it yesterday, but I'm thinking, you all's open on the weekend. It's probably an automated message or something. But anyway, I thought, well, I called the doctor's office the other day and I asked him if he had the paperwork filled out, but apparently they haven't faxed it, or they faxed it and they didn't receive it. I don't know. So tomorrow I have to call and figure that out, call the doctor's office and see if they actually faxed the paperwork, because according to Sedgwick, they haven't received it. So anyway, there's nothing you can do on the weekend. No point in worrying about it. There's nothing I can do about it. Plus, I plan on going to Primary Plus and see if there's any kind of help I can get for somebody that don't have a job to go towards trying to lower that medical bill. So, and my option could be I could go out here and try to find a job in order to pay off what I owe. No matter what job I had, even if I made $7-something an hour, I could pay $50 a week if I had to. You know what I mean? While I had a job, if it was something that wasn't going to injure my back. I'm not going to keep messing my back up on jobs. So I'm going to have something that don't require so much heavy lifting. Is that going to be easy to do? No. But it's worth a try. It's all I can do. I could go get a job long enough to pay off the medical bill, then if I want to leave, give a 2-week notice, and then apply for disability. Either or, whatever it is, I really need to try to get a job to pay that medical bill off. You know? Because I cannot file bankruptcy again. I just filed last year. I filed in 2023, but it wasn't finalized till 2024, early, like February, March of last year. So I got to really watch what I do credit-wise, you know what I mean? So I may have to try to get a job somewhere in order to pay that medical bill off. My son is going to give me some money a month to go towards paying it. But until then, while I'm waiting on that, I could try to get a job somewhere and stay there long enough to pay off what I owe. And if I like the job, I'll stay indefinitely if that's the case, you know. But I really don't want to have to drive an hour to get to a job, but unfortunately there's not a lot of jobs around here where I work at, or where I live at. I mean, pretty much all you got 3 or 4 factories, but it's hard to even get an interview, let alone get a job. And I can't work night shift. I can't work the graveyard shift. I can only work day shift. So it's kind of out of my hands, and I just put it in the Lord's hands. I can only do what I can do. They can't send me to jail over a medical bill. They might try to sue me, but if I'm trying to pay something and my son is going to pay something to help me for about 5 or 6 months, then I feel like he should pay some of it anyway, because he was in the ER twice, and I don't regret taking health insurance out on him. But one thing I will say, if you ever take health insurance out on your child, no matter how old they are, in the United States, so a lot of places you can keep insurance. If you're working somewhere, you can take insurance out on your child under your name. But if they get in the hospital for anything, they don't have to pay nothing, because it's under your name, even though you put them on your insurance. So if something happens and they go in the hospital for anything, that bill lays upon you. You're the one responsible to have to pay it, because it's in your name. The insurance was in your name where you worked at, and you chose to put them under your, which I don't regret putting him on my insurance, but I didn't know I was going to be in this predicament that I'm in, to where I don't have a job. And it's due to no fault of my own. And they continue to hold days against me, even though it happened on the job. I don't care if it's prior existing or it ain't. They can't prove by that MRI whether it's prior existing or not. I chose not to get, if I wanted to fight it, because they closed the workers' comp case. If I wanted to fight it, I'd have had to get a lawyer, and I wasn't doing all that. Because God says people reap what they sow. You know what I mean? So I don't worry about it. You know what I mean? If I fought them, it'd be just like me trying to get disability. I could fight for years and may not get nothing. You know? I don't want to fight over that for years over something that I may not even be able to prove. You know what I mean? So I'm not worried about that. I'm not worried about that. I chose to go the other route. I left the job, so I no longer have no insurance. So, and my son don't have no insurance either. Which my son never used that insurance until we got sick in January. Our whole family got sick, and he had to go to the ER. There was no choice. He was dehydrated. I had no other choice, and I wasn't going to deny him. You know, I wasn't going to say, well, lay there and die. You know what I mean? No, I wasn't going to do that. But I think the next time if I get a job, if I do get a job, and that's what I want to do, and I get health insurance, I'm not taking it out on him, because I hate to say it, but I don't want to. If something happens and I have to leave that job and I'm stuck with all these medical bills I got to pay, I don't want to be responsible to have to pay them. You know what I mean? Especially if it's not. I mean, there is some medical bills, probably about $1,000 or more worth of stuff that I owe. Because I went to the ER once myself because I thought I was having a panic attack, but it ended up not doing that. But that probably costed me $1,000. I'm responsible for probably $1,000 of it, but the other $2,000 he's responsible for. But I'm responsible to pay it all because it was in my name. But the only thing I can do is try to go to the hospital and see if there's any kind of funds for people who don't have any money, and see if they'll reduce the damn what I owe. Even if they reduce it down $500 to $1,000, anything to help me out a little bit so that it'd be less than what I have to pay. But unfortunately, I'm probably going to have to go. I may have to. Like I said, it's an option. But I do want to file for disability. I do. But I would rather work, to be honest with you. But with all these, with my back being the way it is, it kind of hinders me from what I can do and what I can't do. And my bipolar type 1 hinders me too, because I'm on medication, which helps me, but I can't work nothing but day shift. That limits you on what kind of jobs you can do, you know. So either or, you know, it is an option. I got a little bit clearer mind today because I'm not going to sit and stress over this, because I was doing that yesterday and it got me down. You know, and God says that take your burdens, put it on His shoulders, and He'll give you the lighter load. That is true. I said that yesterday in my video. But a lot of people are facing issues. But thank the Lord, I should be grateful that I don't have a house payment, no rent to pay. I don't have no utilities to pay. My mom pays my phone bill right now. I was paying my part of it, but it's under her name. I was paying my part when I had a job, but I can't do it right now because I don't have a job. I told her that I was probably going to file for disability. She said, well, Tanya, you know that's going to be a little depressing sitting around here with no money. Yeah, it would be. My uncle got down and depressed when he filed for disability. It took him almost 3 years to get approved. And he draws pretty good money. About $2,300 to $2,400 a month. And I doubt that everybody draws that, but he worked pretty much all his life. He was a veteran and everything. And had he not been a veteran, he'd have been out on his ass with no place to live, because you know, they provided him an apartment. He got food stamps. He got, you know, he got his utilities paid. He didn't have to pay for none of that. He was a veteran. He served in a war. You know, that's the reason why he was able, that's the reason why he moved to, it was in Indiana, I can't think, Huntington, West Virginia is where he moved to. And that's where, in the hospital he needed to go to be seen. He had a medical card, whatever, so it paid for all his health stuff. And him being a veteran, he was able to get he had sugar diabetes problems, wrong with his liver problem. He had a lot of problems. He had pain, neuropathy in his legs and feet. He couldn't even stand up any longer 15, 20 minutes or he'd fall over. He'd been known to black out and everything. Plus he had, you know, he had alcohol issues. He was an alcoholic, you know, but he had a lot of health issues, you know. And it took him almost 3 years to get approved. So it's real in the field out here when you want to consider filing for disability. I mean, it's a rarity that it gets approved the first time for a lot of people. I mean, I've never filed, but I know it ain't easy for people to get disability. So if people's out here living off of it, don't be judging them because they're living off SSI, SSDI, disability, Social Security, whatever. Don't throw no shade their way, because they had to go through hellfire and brimstone just to get it approved. And they will send you wherever they want to send you for whatever you filed your disability for people to look at you. I mean, you gotta have, I mean, it's yeah. You got to show them that you're not able to work. And like I said, I suggest you get a lawyer. And there is lawyers out there that you can find that will not charge you unless you win. There is lawyers out there like that. Because most people, when they file disability, they ain't got no money. And yeah, you get back pay, I'm sure, eventually. But I don't know a whole lot about it. But I know a lot of people that have filed and have gotten it approved, and how long it took some people. I got a friend that took her a year. And a lot of her health issues was due to COVID. You know, it took her a year, and she said she'd be willing to give me the information to that lawyer she used, because he don't charge unless he wins the case. Then you owe him a certain amount. And she said it really wasn't that bad for what he did for her to get it approved. And to get it approved in a year is probably better than some people. But my uncle took 2.5, 3 years to get it approved. I'm out here speaking to the ones who are thinking about filing disability, and trust me, it'll be new to me too, because I've never done it. They told me way back when my son was younger, because my son's got ADHD, ODD, oppositional defiance disorder, anxiety, and depression, and they told me that I could try to get some kind of I don't know, Social Security check or get something, a disability check for him. I could have tried to get when he was younger, but I never did do that. Because a lot of people told me if I did, then it would probably hinder him from getting a job. So I tried to muster through to raise him the best I could as a single parent. I'm telling y'all about my past history. I'm telling y'all about my upbringing, the things that I've been through in my life. I tell y'all, and I don't speak about any of my family members in a derogatory manner as far as talking about my son in a negative way. I will not speak that. I'm just saying these are things that I could have done when he was younger to receive a check. And they told me, they're like, well, you won't make enough to be able to make a living. No, but I never done that. But now that he's older, if he ever wanted to file disability, which my son works at Napa, he works at a parts store. That's what he does. He makes about $11 an hour. He don't make a ton of money. He clears about $750 every 2 weeks. They have health insurance there, but he says it's $300 a month for one person, and you have to drive 50 minutes to an hour to get to a doctor that'll even accept the insurance, so he's never took it out. But now that I've left my job and he don't have no insurance, that's the reason why I took insurance out on him when I went to work up at Serpentine, because the insurance for him was high. I was paying $400 some a month out of my check every month for me and him health insurance. Yeah, I was paying over 100 some, and on my 48-hour checks, they took $120 some out almost damn near a week on them checks for me and him insurance. But either or, some insurances ain't that great, especially if you go in the hospital. You got a deductible you have to meet. If you ain't got no money back to pay for that, they got HSI things and stuff where I used to work that you could put so much money out of your check into. You know, that way if you come up sick, which is a good idea to do, it really is, because if you do that, at least you got some money put back to go towards paying a medical bill. You know what I mean? Because you don't never know. You just really never know what's going to happen. You don't know if you're going to get the flu. You don't know if something's going to happen during the year where you may have to be in the hospital. You don't know. Hospital stays are expensive, even for 3 or 4 hours, $1,000 or more. What if you have to call the ambulance to come pick your kid up or yourself up? You know, if you ain't got no money back to pay for that, it's a mess. But you know, the funny part about it is these companies that you work for, they have to pay so much money towards the health insurance, plus they're charging you however much they're charging you out of your check every week. And then most of the time, these insurance require co-pays. Every time you go to the doctor, it's $25, $30, might be $50. It depends on how good your insurance is as to how much they're going to charge you for a co-pay. I never had a copay for going to the doctor or going to mental health care. Like for my psychiatrist or counselor, I didn't have a copay. So that wasn't too bad, but it was an outrageous deductible if you had to be put in the hospital or hooked up to any machines. I'm speaking truth. This is the way it is. If you got to be hooked up to a machine, that shit costs money. It just really does. That's why a person should never go to the emergency room unless it's a damn dire emergency. That's why you see a lot of people out here. They may be having, you see people sometimes go in the damn emergency room for a damn sniffle. You go to a damn doctor for that. You don't go to the damn emergency room for that. If it's not an emergency, you don't want to go in there because it's going to cost you. You might want to think twice before you go. Not telling you not to go if it's an emergency, but if it ain't an emergency, it's going to cost you. Trust me. 2 or 3 hours of being in there, $1,000. Might be $5, $6, depending on what they do. If they do blood work, it's going to cost you more money. And I'm talking about more money than if you went to your regular doctor and got blood work done. It's not going to cost as much. But if you go in the damn hospital here where I live at, they're going to put an IV in you to draw blood, and that shit's going to cost you more than just getting your blood regularly drawn. I'm telling you. Go to your primary care doctor to get blood work done. It's cheaper than getting it done in the hospital. But it is what it is. But I'm just telling you, the more shit they do, if they put a Band-Aid on you, they're liable to try to charge you $400 or $500. You always want to check your medical bills and make sure they're not charging you for stuff you didn't receive. I'm just telling you. I'm telling you. If they give you a damn can of pop, they're liable to charge you $50, $60, $100 for that. Who knows what the hell they charge? These hospitals charge outrageous amounts of money for shit. It's ridiculous. And when you have insurance, the insurance is paying I got a bill that said it was $15,000 some damn dollars, and that my part was $574 and something for one bill. And I'm thinking, damn, for 3 or 4 hours in the fucking emergency room? Damn, I'm just telling you, it costs some money. I mean, you know, but if you have health insurance, they're getting majority of that money any damn way because you're paying for health insurance. Luckily, I had health insurance on my son at the time he needed to go to the ER because he didn't take no insurance out where he works. I have to take some tissues to wipe this water off as it's raining. I got my window down and I'm smoking. I'm just saying, I'm trying to educate people out here, you know what I mean? You're better off. I know it seems like, well, you know, yeah, you could have took that money you spent on that outfit you bought the other day. It was $140. I don't give a fuck. You know what I mean? I mean, it's my money. I can do what I want to do, but I'm not trying to be mean, but I'm just saying, if I fucking want something, I'm going to get it while I can get it. I'm not saying I should be out here spending the money that I spent, but I didn't spend but $29.66 in Ross. Because I told myself, I said, man, did I have trouble spending money? I'll be honest. I mean, everybody does. Everybody spends their money on what they want to spend their money on. And even if I paid on that medical bill right now, it would leave me with no money left. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to pay something that this is all the money I got left. I ain't doing it. They can't make me pay something I don't have. If I don't even have a damn job, I'm not taking my last damn dollar to pay on a fucking medical bill. They can take the shit to court. I don't give a fuck. They ain't going to get nothing out of me I ain't got. I'll start paying when my son starts giving me the money to go towards paying it. And I'm definitely going to go to the hospital and see if there's any funds to help people with no job, because currently I don't have one. So I don't give a fuck. I'll spend my money on what I want to. Either or, I'm not trying to be mean, but I mean, it ain't like I spent a damn fortune. And yeah, I probably did spend more money in Hibbets the other day than what I should have. I kind of regret it, but at the same time, it's like, well, it could be years. If I decide to choose to file disability, hell, I could be 2 or 3 years before I could ever buy myself anything again. How you think depressing that's going to be to have to go through? But I'm not going to get depressed. But it is depressing. It is depressing when you have no money to do shit. You don't even have gas money to drive down the road. I've been there. I was that way for almost a year, man. I'm telling you. When I went through mania, I didn't have a job for several. I mean, it was real. I couldn't keep a job. I mean, when it comes to people with mental health care issues, you know, and then at the time, I didn't even have a job because I'd left my job, so I didn't have no insurance to go to the doctor for nothing. But yet my parents kept telling me, you need to seek yourself help. I said, I don't have no damn insurance. And I wasn't in my mind to think there was anything wrong with me anyway, so I wasn't about to seek help. Because I had never been through mania, so I never, you know. I talk about this stuff a lot because it's part of what I've been through. And I'm sure there's other people out here watching my channel that's been through mania before. I'm a walking testimony for the Lord. I'm sorry if I cuss sometimes, but I'm not holier than thou. I'm not better than anybody else out here. I have addictions and things I do that's not right either. I don't suggest you do it. But we all have addictions. None of us are perfect. I don't judge the next person that drinks or does drugs or any of that, because we all have addictions. Some may be worse than others, but God sees it all. It is what it is. We ain't perfect. Some of us grew up and thought, well, man, I knew when I'm going to be honest with y'all. When I was raising my son, man, I tried to do the best I could do, but there was a lot of decisions I made that wasn't great. So over the years, man, I held that stuff against myself. I held myself under condemnation, man, because I couldn't even forgive myself for the stuff I did. I never beat my son. I never hurt my son. I never laid a hand on my son. I always provided for my son. Food, helped pay his insurance, all kinds of stuff. Helped pay for him a cell phone. I got him a cell phone at 10 years old. I paid the bill every month. I had to go to the store and buy a card. It wasn't under, you know, a contract or nothing, but I paid for the minutes on his phone every month. I tried to help my son, but money ain't all the way to show love. I always loved my son. I fought with school. I fought with the school system the whole damn time he was growing up because he dealt with mental issues. He had an IEP. I dealt with all kinds of stuff, y'all. Y'all don't know. But I'm sure I'm a walking testimony for the Lord. I beat myself up for years, man, saying, man, you ain't a good enough mom. I raised my kid with my parents' help because Sean's dad never had nothing to do with him. You know what I mean? So I know what it's like for your kid to grow up with a single parent. He called my dad his dad. And that was odd because he's my dad. It's his grandpa. But that's the only father figure, that's the only male figure consistently that's been in his life. So I know what it's like to have to raise a child by yourself and with the help of my parents to help me. I'm very blessed that they tried to help me, you know what I mean? Because I didn't have no other family helping me with that. Y'all don't know, you know what I mean? That's why I say you should never judge somebody, even if they're homeless, even if they're in between jobs and they're struggling. Don't judge them because you don't know what they've been through. And sometimes we make decisions we ought not make, and we have to deal with those for life. But you can't beat yourself up and wallow in self-pity all your life. You'll never get nowhere in life doing that. It's not worth it to do that, but sometimes when you suffer with mental illness, it's hard to forget those past mistakes that you made. And you want to bask and lay in them every day, thinking that there's nothing, you know, because if you suffer from PTSD, any kind of traumatic events that you have... God spoke to me in the spirit. When I was speaking in the spirit yesterday, I was by myself behind my mom and dad's house, and I was just speaking in the spirit, and God said, I have said this many a times on my YouTube videos if y'all actually watch my videos, and I'm sorry that they're long videos, but I speak a lot of truth. And I speak the truth of my life and the truth of other people's who are going through, hoping I can reach people who've been through something similar to me to let you know that you ain't the only one in the world that deals with mental illness. You ain't the only one in the world dealing with financial issues. You ain't the only one in the world dealing with homelessness. I've not been homeless, but I've been close to damn homelessness. You know what I mean? Because when I went through mania, I had a house, but I wasn't paying my house payment. I'm just telling y'all, man, I didn't have the money to pay it. I might have been paying it, but I was putting it on a credit card. I had a PayPal credit card with a $10,000 limit on it that I applied for, because at the time I still had decent credit. I lived on my own for 4 years and paid all my bills on time, living paycheck to paycheck. That's what most people out here in this world are living, paycheck to paycheck. We ain't middle class, we're the poor class. So what do you consider homelessness? Poverty. It's worse than being poor, it's poverty. We should have no poverty in the United States, but there is a lot of people who's homeless with mental health issues. And yes, doing drugs and drinking alcohol is one of the major causes of your mental health getting worse. If you already had mental health issues and you're drinking and doing drugs, that's only making it worse. But nobody's saying it's easy to get up off drugs or get up off alcohol. Nothing is easy. It's hard for me to quit smoking. I'm not going to judge people. I'm going to pray for them. What I'm trying to say is, if you really sit back and think about it, we all deal with something. Because we live in a fallen world, we live in a fleshly body, like I always say in my videos. It's not easy to do anything in this life. God never said that walking as a Christian is an easy road to toe. It is not. You will have many of people step on your toes. You will have many of people that will come and judge you because you battle something in your life, but yet have never walked a mile in your shoes, like I said yesterday. You cannot sit and say, if you have never been through dramatic events in your life, if you had never suffered from anything in your life, and God said there are people in this life who have walked through and the devil has blinded them by giving them everything they want, but it's the devil's means that they're getting their money. It's not through God's means, it's through the devil's means. They use their passion and their calling that God had on their life to use it for the devil and not for him. For better is it for those who walk by faith and not by sight. You don't have to have proof that God exists. There's already proof in the Bible. But many people want to say, well, I don't believe in anything. You've got agnostics, you've got atheists. I'm not judging them. I'm just speaking. They don't know what they believe. They say they believe in nothing, but that's not true. I mean, I've had people, I'm telling you, and I'm not putting nobody down, I'm just saying, honey, y'all don't even know. I mean, and one thing I really discuss on my channel more than anything, because I have a lot to say. I'm bipolar, so I talk a lot and fast anyway. You know what I mean? I talk a lot anyway. If you're anybody out there who deals with the bipolar, and you've been around people, it is what it is. We talk a lot. So my videos are long. Hey, it is what it is. If I reach one person, I'm doing my job. God said you may not reach a lot of people. You may not. But even if you reach one or two people, you're doing the work of the Lord. There's nothing that could be bad about that. I may cuss in my videos. There's a lot of people on social media who profess to the Lord, who are walking for the Lord and trying to encourage people in a positive way who might say a cuss word. Don't be so down on a Christian, because we ain't perfect. God never said we had to be perfect. We can't be perfect till we make it to heaven. But we're righteous in His eyes when we give our life to Him by opening up our heart and confessing of our sin, and we receive Him into our heart, then we are saved. Nobody can take that away from you. Yeah, a lot of days I speak of a lot of things, but God is number one in my life no matter what I go through. Do you think I wanted to have to leave my job? Do y'all seriously think? You know, I'm not saying that you all think that. I'm just saying, I mean, it wasn't a choice I wanted to have to make. I wish I could continue working that job, but I couldn't. My back wouldn't allow me to do it. And yes, I know God can heal, but I've got an MRI result that said that I've got a disc sitting on the bottom of my spine, and it's sitting on a nerve. I cannot just keep lifting heavy stuff and take a chance on having chronic back issues to continue re-injuring myself when I know the job is hurting me. So guess what? I had to leave. I had no choice. I don't care what the doctor says. I wasn't lifting no more than 25, 30 pounds as far as lifting those daggone heavy rolls we had to put on all day long. And that was a lot of lifting. And it was hurting my back. As long as I was on light duty, I didn't care to stay. But also, I'm breathing drywall dust, and that's not good. It's worse than smoking a cigarette. And when combined, it's not good for your health. I've been battling this sinus infection for a while because of me, and I'm still battling it. But God's healed me by the stripes of Jesus. I don't care what I feel, I still say I'm healed. But what I am saying is that if I continued breathing that stuff, it would only cause more issues. So I do not need to. I do not need to stay at that job. It is not good for my health. Money is not everything. Money is not everything. And so sometimes we have to make decisions we don't want to make. And I have quit a lot of jobs in my life. And I regret that. That is one of the mistakes I've made that I wish I hadn't done. I got mad, blew up, and left. But sometimes I just didn't think before I reacted. But I didn't know I had bipolar. Now I understand. Now that I've been diagnosed, I know why I had so many issues in my life. But nobody sought me no help when I was younger. My parents didn't want me on medication, you know. I made it through my life for 40-some years, and then when I had that depression episode, then back to back from depression to a mania episode, I had to seek help. My parents had to seek me help because I wouldn't seek myself help. So, I've been the person who wasn't seeking myself help. I've been there, y'all. Anybody suffer a manic episode or ever suffer psychosis or ever suffer from depression, I've been there. I know what it's like. I don't wish it to ever happen to me again because I never wanted to go through it to begin with. I got to watch how much stress I take on. You know what I mean? Because I got to put it on Christ. I got to put it on Him. I can't sit around and be worried about stuff that I cannot have, there's nothing I can do. And y'all know when you're suffering in the mind, there's not a lot of people that understand you. And a lot of times people with mental health care issues, they don't seek their self-help because they ain't got no insurance. Especially when a lot of them are homeless. And not everybody homeless suffering from drug addiction or mental health issues. Let's just say that ain't everybody. Everybody's got a story. Everybody's got their own story, man. And that's what I'm here for. Speak your light. Speak your story. You know what I mean? Because everybody's got a story. Nobody's perfect. We all got a story, and it's all different. It ain't all the same. God did not create everybody to be the same. He created you to be your own unique person. But He did not create you to turn away from Him. But that is a choice only you can make. I think sometimes God wants me to speak up in this and be forthcoming. A lot of times in my mind, I really put myself down a lot, put a lot of pressure on myself to reach the lost. So much so that if I don't reach enough people, I feel like I'm not doing a good enough job. I'm going to speak the truth. I'm going to speak the truth. When you go to church, do you see people standing up in the pews speaking about the truth of their life? Are they speaking of anything they've been through in their life? Or are they just sitting around acting like, oh, when people ask you, are you all right? Yeah, you're all right. You're alive. Thank the Lord that you woke up to see another day, and you give gratitude where it's due, which is Christ. You give him gratitude where it's due because he's the one blessed you to wake up to see another day. He's the one blessed you in your finances. He's the one blessed you in your family. He's the one blessing you. No matter if you are the black sheep of your family, God will take somebody that you may not think is nothing, or you may think you're nothing in your mind, but God says you are everything. You are everything to him. No matter what this world, you cannot live for this world and live for the Lord. You cannot let the world turn you against the Lord. But there are many people in the churches who are not speaking up about the things that they are dealing with, and there are some who are. I'm going to speak up and tell the truth. Now I'm trying to remember, what I was speaking about. Sometimes I have trouble with that because I do suffer with bipolar. And a lot of people tell me I shouldn't say you suffer. You shouldn't say that. You're speaking death over your life. God will heal you, whatever you got. Well, I do deal with bipolar. I say what I speak. And I do know that God can heal. But one thing I will say is I put a lot of pressure on myself to try to reach the lost. I really do. Because I've had people tell me, and these are humans, and their opinions don't amount to two craps anyway, really, to be honest with you. I don't worry about people's opinions of me. I know who I am in Christ, and that's what you have to tell yourself. When people tell you something that you know is not true and to try to bring you down, it's awful when this is what I wrote in my lyrics, and I'm trying to remember it to a T. It's awful when another has to throw ridicule to make you feel pitiful. You know what I mean? It's awful when another person has to make you feel down and give you the ridicule, and make you feel pitiful because they're not happy in their life. They're not happy in their life, so they're trying to bring you down with them. They are sucking leeches, sucking the energy dry out of you. That's why God said you should watch who you let in your inner circle. If somebody has done you wrong, God said if somebody has done you wrong and you have forgiven that person for you have not forgiven that person for them, whether you ever got an apology, God said we should not hold a grudge. You forgave them for you. So you wouldn't walk around with that baggage and that hate in your heart for that person for what they did. But let's be real. We're human, so sometimes it's hard for us to forgive. God still forgives you, but he wants you to forgive others like Christ. You love people like Christ loved the church. You're supposed to love all people. That don't just go for your husband or your wife or your boyfriend or your girlfriend. It goes for the love of Christian people God created all people. If he created the heavens and the earth, the birds and the bees, he created it all. So therefore God said to love everybody like Christ loved the church. The bride is all the people that God created that are in one in union with unity and purity, walking for Christ. Walking Christ-like. Walking Christ-light. Through the struggles that you fight, he will grasp you with all his might if you ask him into your heart. But it is your choice to make. I cannot make that choice for you. I said that yesterday, but I cannot do it. God does not want anybody coming to him by force. He wants you to have your open, loving heart to let him into your heart. And God loves a cheerful giver. Whether it's by money or material things that you provide to your church. It don't have to be just money that you provide when you tithe at your church. If you know your church is having an event, like my church, an Awaken event, and I donated a couple pairs of Jordans so they could give it out in the raffle when they have the Awaken event, that is donating too. It is not just money that you have that you can tithe to the church, but you can give back to the church with your time. God does not expect you to give money that you do not have. If you are taking away from paying your bills, he does not expect you to pay a tithe. If you not as much as what they may be telling you. There are other ways to give to the church. Being involved in the church functions if you're able to attend. God is not against you if you do not go to a church or if you do not have a home church. He wants you to go to church, but he wants you to make sure you pick the right one to attend. Just because you ain't sitting in a church pew don't mean you cannot accept Christ into your life. Does not make you any better than somebody who goes to church or who does not go to church. There was probably not the church building back when Christ was first evolving on this earth. Oh, that's Shia. They had to build it by the hands of man, but Christ is the one blessed them to build it. A church is just a church building. The church is Christ. Come on now. The church is Christ. We ain't talking about, we don't have to be in a church building to speak of Christ. We don't have to be in a church building to speak the light of Christ over people's lives. Come on now. Come on, let's get to speaking. Let's get to speaking the light of Christ, let's say. I'm telling you, to this day, people will say you have to be in a church pew to serve the Lord or to ask Him into your heart. You do not. You can be in that Bible 24/7 whenever you have time available to do it. We won't say 24/7, but when you go to work, you can still get in your Bible. Take one with you. You got the Bible app on your phone, right? Even if you don't, you can look up any verse. I need to get in my Bible more so than what I do. So when I speak to you, I speak to myself as well. It applies to you and it applies to me. I'm not any better than anybody else. And I have never thought that I was, nor will I ever. I am not a holier-than-thou person, and I'm not speaking against the Lord. I'm saying that I don't think I'm better than anybody else who is not saved. Karai retikadori. God created us all. We are to love all people, not hate. That's what this world does not need, is hate in their hearts. That's why God explains to you to want you to forgive people for things that they have done. For yourself, not for them. It does not mean that once you forgive them that you have to continue being their friend, continue being there for them. You do not. You forgive that person and move on. That's why God tells you to watch who you let in your circle. None is perfect. We all fall short of the glory of God. None of us are perfect. And I realize there may be some Christians out there that are hypocrites. There may be. We all may have felt guilty to that at one point or another, but God does not take our salvation away from us. Let's be real. Some of us, all of us, could be hypocritical in some way, shape, or form, but do you think that God's going to take away your salvation once you have been saved? You're always saved. Some people do not think that that is true, but it is true. I speak the light of Christ on my channel. That's why I created this YouTube platform. That is what it's all about. God is all I live for. And do I worry over people in this world? Yes, I do. I won't lie about it. I won't lie about it. Why should I get on here and speak stuff that I do not speak lies. I do not need to lie to the people. Because we all suffer with that sometimes. We all are been prone to do that. There's no point in speaking lies. I think more people should be forthcoming about who they truly are and what they deal with and the struggles and the temptations that they must overcome, the hurdles that they must jump through, the hurdles that sometimes you have to walk through. It's just like a storm. A storm comes, right? God didn't say there would never be a storm. He said He would guide you through the storm to transform you into one in uniform with Him. I speak in tongues. God will guide to me. Who do you think you are? If you have been saved, who do you see yourself as? Do you stand? Let's be like this. This is an example. Say you are standing in one place and you could picture seeing yourself in Christ's eyes. Do you see yourself as righteous in Christ's eyes, or do you hold yourself under condemnation? A lot of us have, and that's holding yourself under religion. And we have all been guilty of doing it, even me. We have all been guilty of doing it. I got so much to talk about, I'll have to make another video. This video is 43 minutes, and I know my videos are very long, but I have a lot to discuss. So anyway, if there's anybody out there who's not been saved, I want to take this time to ask if you would ask Christ into your life. And if you truly believe that Jesus died on the cross and that He arose from the dead, then you are saved. That is the true way to salvation. I will never quit saying that on any of my videos. And I want to ask you, then go find a non-religion church who believes in the spiritual gifts of speaking in tongues, dreaming dreams, seeing visions, and interpretations of tongues, and get baptized. So until next time, peace, love, and y'all be blessed. There's always somebody out there going through something worse, but we got to stick together and show love, not hate. So until next time, y'all, be blessed, and I'll be praying for you.